Hello. So, thank you everyone for being in this session today. My name is John Giancarlo. I'm a product specialist for Autodesk. And before I hand over to our friends Superprod, I would like to give you an update on what we're doing in regards to open standards in USD. As you may know, we've been investing in open source for a while now. And these are just a few of those projects that we're invested, like OpenColorIO, MaterialX, etc. But everything always turns out revolving around USD. So before we need to understand why USD is, because obviously today projects can be very complex. Collaborating is getting more and more complex. All the data is more and more that we need to handle. And we need to handle between, sorry, wrong button, between a lot of these different softwares over here, right? So we collaborate between Maya, Max, Houdini, Unreal, for example. But always using this as the piece for collaboration. But not just collaboration, we also leverage on the composition engine, which is what makes it really, appealing for a lot of studios. It's how we can deal with, data differently, right? Put together assets and prototypes and get assemblies ready. Anything that I'm going to be showing today in this little example, because it's very small, I'm just going to be teasing you with a little tool that we are doing in the Bifrost team. Everything that's been used, that I used, was taken from that. So I want to start with a little bit asset complexity, why we use USD, right? So normally, you have a lot of assets, and you start prototyping assets. You start creating things like, for example, in this case, I want to create a supermarket, a medieval supermarket, but I want to use all of them assets. As you see, there's tons and tons of different props, tons and tons of different assets. I can take all of them and put them together into just one piece. And we're going to call that an assembly. That then I can use to populate another scene, basically. That's the beauty of USD. But it can get pretty difficult very fast. So before I move on, I would like to kind of point you into understanding the structure, terminology, and composition of a USD file. And for that, because I don't really have that much time, I wanted to share this QR code where we have all these documented. So if you want to take a quick shot of that, you'll be able to read upon all the terminology of composition of an asset inside of USD. Well, this is a very, small example. So you have an arcade machine, where you have a geometry, which is a group, then you have a purpose, proxy, render, etc., and material. You see how you can put it together. And what all these things are, like an X-form, or a scope, or mesh, or whatever. If you fail to do it before, you can do it again. Because another thing that you can do is just use the composition engine then to have different versions of that asset, right? So we call those variants. And you have the ability to do nested variants or for, say, modeling or texturing or lighting, so you can put all together into different levels of variants that you can access later. So it can get very complex very quickly, and that's why we are working on some tools to make it a little bit easier for everybody. So that means, how do I prepare the asset? How do you give it purpose? And now create those variant sets, meaning how do I get those components, how to create those components. We have now something we call the component creator. And this is a feature that is not really exposed at the moment. So if you really want to see this Bifrost USD plugin, because everything's been done using Bifrost, you need to expose it by adding this Maya module path over here, and then finding where exactly that example Maya plugin lives. Why that way? Because this is something new. It might not be ready for you, but we want you to test it, and we want you to give us your feedback on, what do you think about this plugin. But you can do a lot of things. As you can see here, you have a way to create a file, modify, do things like look variants, add materials, and create components. So I'm going to start with the very first one, which is very easy. It's basically create a stage from a selection from Maya data directly into USD. And I believe I have to click again. Yeah. So I'm sorry you don't see it there. So that's why I'm detaching it and showing it to you. So you see you can create a new stage. You can do a lot of stuff. But from this part, all I want to show you is the little ones that I think are, quite cool. When you do this, you get a procedural USD stage scene created on this side. But that's not all. You see the component creator on that side. Anything that you create, by the way, using this plugin, you need to save using that same plugin as well. And then you can, re-edit using the Maya plugin, no worries. But the beauty of this one is that it keeps a live connection between the USD data and the Maya data. And I'll show it to you here a little bit what that means. Say you're a modeler, you want to change stuff, you already have a USD file, you create that live connection, and you're actually editing that model, and that's going to translate immediately to the USD data. So you don't have to actually save the component or save the USD file before. You can also make changes in the outliner, like changing names, all the stuff, reorganizing, and everything's going to be, all the callbacks are going to be done for you, so you don't have to worry about that. Yeah. So another thing that I think is kind of special is I really wanted to go overboard on this one is this variance from Maya selection. So normally you create your variants either using Python or you can do Bifrost as well, but you have to kind of do a manual work of exporting, doing all this stuff. With this plugin, remember that very large set of objects that I had before. So now I'm going to just put them all in the middle, and I'm going to create variants out of all them groups. And that might take a little bit of time. I'm just going to let it run so you have an idea how long it takes for the plugin to do it. As you may know, there's a lot of data that it needs to go through, so it's iterating through all of those. And yeah, I wouldn't recommend to do it like this, obviously. I just wanted to be crazy, showing you, how much stuff you can put together and how crazy it's going to look on this side. But see, now I have it done, and I have this very, very large Bifrost network where all these USD stages are being created, and all the variants have been created and organized for me. So this is quite cool, and then you can obviously access it on the outliner and go find your variants. But why I show it to you, and this is one caveat, textures won't go through because it's not intended to be used like this. So it's intended to be used in a regular pipe where you're going to be modeling, then send it to the next step of the pipe, which is texturing, where you can create all the components and all your variants prior to sending it to the next step of the pipe. So this is quite useful. Again, I would not recommend doing this such a crazy thing. I would go, object by object or asset by asset. But just to show it to you that it is possible. Now I want to talk about the component creator, because if you're an artist, if you're not, say, a TD, you might find it difficult to put together, okay, how do I specify to the component that this is a proxy, or you either do it with Python, or there's no way to do it. So now with this new tool, once you understand the terminology of the USD file, which you can see here, I have a jog. This is a very simple example. And the jog have a proxy and a guide shape for the three of them. There's three variants of that jog. And you see here I have the name, which jog. G is the name of the variant. Render is the purpose. That's all I need to do. And just put it under a scope, which is actually a transform. And I can rename that any way I want. All it's taking is this information and that. So next step here is going to be to export through the plugin. And this is using the asset resolver, so it's just going to take this geometry, and you're going to know exactly, because of the name, it's going to resolve from the selection. It's going to say the component name, which is a jug. It's going to know the purpose, and it's going to know what variant name is. And you can also add a current version to that. Say version 01, which is quite cool. And it will know whenever you create a component exactly to what version was the latest and how to go grab that. So obviously you need to export one by one because that's what we had intended to do it. You could do bulk export in Python, sorry for now, but it is there for the future. So once you have exported that, keeping those terminologies and that order per se, it's as easy as just going into the component creator and find that geometry. And actually, you just need to grab one, and it'll know. So that version, just a folder, and it'll put it together here. So now I have that jog. Again, textures didn't go through because that's not what we're worrying about now. But you can see it here directly that I have all the variants. I can edit the purpose type, say guide, proxy, render, and it's all been done for you. So pretty much. So as simple as that. You don't have to worry about going Python or getting all confused about how do I do this or don't need a TD. You can do it yourself. And you can obviously access it through the outliner as well. And one thing that is very important is that whatever you do with the component creator, it needs to be saved with the component creator before you can try to use it inside of the Maya plugin. So you just need to save it to disk, and it's just going to create the whole thing. And now you're ready to import or bring in this as USD geometry using the Maya plugin. So that's all really. Then, going back to that asset that I showed you before, I showed that it is possible to put it together using this plugin, but I would not really recommend doing it that way because that's, I don't know, too crazy, I guess. So you either, again, if you're a TD, you either do it with a little bit of Python and put it together using this type of coding, which can be done through Maya, or you can go and check my YouTube channel, some Maya workflows. I have a way to put it together inside of Bifrost, so it's not really that difficult. But if you have tons and tons of objects like that, you want to do it one by one, you can put it together. I created, by the way, an entire city of machines procedurally using Bifrost USD. So that's quite a nice webinar there. And just to finish off, what's new on the Maya USD plugin? I just don't want to bother you too much. I just really want to give my friend Marc here the chance to show his stuff, is the fact that, you only have a checkbox. You want to make things like relative path over here. You also can correct the unit conversion, say axis unit, all this stuff here. Also have added it in the export option over there. And another thing that is quite cool is now you can find frames in the outliner. I know this is kind of a why. We didn't have it before, now it is there. Like again, we're working slowly but surely and making USD more native inside of Maya. But that's not it. We have a light link collection widget as well now. So if you're working, say, with a USD light, so you want a light scene or something, like that one over there, you'll see on this side here, now you have a way to include or exclude objects, USD objects, like right in here. So if I hit render, you'll see I have my light. I'm sorry, this is all real time. I didn't sped up the video. Yeah, so notice that it pinned this, so I could just drag that object into the exclude, and now when I hit render, it's just going to exclude it. And we're talking USD data, obviously. This is not Maya data. This is a USD light that we're using in this case. And by the way, you can also add expressions. So say if I have a bunch of objects with the same name, just add the expression, and it will exclude all those with the same name, basically. So naming convention is quite important. Now we also have schemas, so you can apply schemas directly instead of Maya. which is quite cool. One nice example is basically maybe you want to add a custom Arnold camera, and you want to do some custom stuff like depth of field inside of Maya, the world of USD. Another thing is now you can actually look through USD cameras instead of Maya. So this is another thing that we couldn't do before. Now you can do it. And again, you just apply the Arnold schema. That's very easy in this case. I mean, you can either add it through here, as you can see, or you can directly apply the Arnold schemas in that other window over there. And there you're good. You're good to go. Now you can use your Arnold camera within USD world, and you're ready to start working away. And if you have your own written custom schemas, you can obviously also use them, add them, remove them. At any point in time, you can also go and just remove any specific schemas you applied. Now, this is, not that super important for some people, but super important for us is the fact that now you can color things in the outliner. And that's what just for organizational purposes. You really want to be able to, color code certain parts of your scene, especially when it's very, very, very large. And yeah, talking now about assembly, we did some really cool now. We have a way to lock layers, but not only locking the layers here, we also have a system layer lock for TDs. So basically, an artist cannot mess around with these locks. So if you want to have people in modeling not being able to unlock lighting, that kind of thing, we have system locks for that. So in this case, I'm just bringing in pretty quickly, so you can see now that you can select as a payload directly there, and you have all those options like make relative, all that stuff. You can put together, the nice thing about this is you can put together very complex scene inside of Maya. Regardless of the size, if you did all this stuff that I showed you before, you optimized it, you created your purposes, you have all your variants, you have all the chance to create very amazing scenes, and then if you're happy enough with whatever you want inside of Maya, you don't want to render inside of Maya, you want to take it to Houdini, you want to take it to Unreal Engine for whatever reason, you can do so. But one thing you want to know is whenever you're importing from Maya, there's a new interchange pipeline between Maya and Unreal that you need to enable this import.html, and it's also the same thing, interchange feature flags import USD true. But that's if you are importing into Unreal Engine. If you're actually loading just a USD stage, that's not necessary. Just loading the USD stage, all you need to know, instead of Unreal, for example, is basically this. You get these USD imported. It will ask you to restart, and don't look at my all the stuff that I have. But it's pretty easy. You can see the workflow is super easy now. You just find your USD stage actor instead of Unreal, and just open that. And when all you need to do is locate that file that you exported. So basically that assembly that you saw in the end, which is in this case shot 001, and it will know exactly that I have all them layers there, and we'll bring them in. And then give me all. It takes a while. In this case, it took me a little bit of time to load it, but then it loaded in the end. Say 5 minutes. One thing that is important for you to know is Nanite gets in the way. So if at some point you see, well, it's loading quite weirdly, it's because Nanite is trying to optimize everything. So you have to maybe just add an extra 0 there in the Nanite settings, and you're going to be good to go. And that's if if you want to choose whether you're selecting proxy or render in the end. You have all this stuff that you created inside of Maya. You will have it available here. Also, if you have like different variants, you can swap them instead of Unreal Engine. So it's the same thing. And in the end, you can start just lighting. And it took me maybe, I don't know, an hour just to render this whole thing instead of Unreal. I know it's not perfect. I didn't really want to spend that much time lighting instead of Unreal, but you see the possibilities, right? So some studios don't have that much budget. Sometimes that's what they want to do. Just want to, pretty quickly put together something, even if it's just for previs. You want to, have a real nice render to show. You can use this workflow. And, well, that's actually all I had today. There's a lot more that I could tell you, but I don't really have the time. I'd rather have my friend here, Marc, to tell you more about how they use USD and Superprod. So thank you very much, bro.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming this morning to the UAD Production Insight. I will quickly introduce myself and the company, and then we'll go see how we use USD at Superprod. I'm Marc. I'm the head of pipeline at Superprod. I was previously head of R&D at Micros Animation, and in the previous life, I was CG Sup also. So what we do at Superprod, Superprod is a group covering production and distribution of animation and live action programs for cinema and television around the world. We are an independent French studio based in Paris and Angoulême, and also in Luxembourg and in Milan in Italy. We create a lot of TV series for us, but also for Netflix, Warner, and other distributors. And we are also a distributor. Let's see what we have already produced without the sound. I go back.
Smiths.
Ready for takeoff? In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and...
It's still working though, that's cool.
So before we get started, I have a question for you. Who use Maya? I'm curious to know. Okay. And who use Maya with USD? Less people. Okay, thanks. Have you seen in our showreel? We make movies and series. And in series, we need to move fast and even very fast. That's why we have created a tool to take an animated asset from one shot and put it into another. In this way, we can easily fill a shot with a lot of character and add life to the shot. That's our shot for the talk. So this shot comes from our upcoming series, Underdog. So you have Underdog, our hero, fly over the city to save people. And we will add a character in the scene on the sidewalk here in front of the bakery, and also on the right side. So to achieve that, our plan is quite simple. Usually in the shot, we cast asset, to say I would like this one. And now we want to cast asset and also cast animated cache to apply on it. So that the animator just have to position the asset in the scene and the people walk or run. So what are the challenges with this kind of tool? We want to reuse some step, animation, CFX, so for the cloud, the hair. We want also if the FX if the character is in fire. I don't know why, but why not? And the tecanim. The tecanim for us is, when you have some penetration with a rig, usually we fix it at the tecanim step. So we want to use all that USD cache in the new shot. Of course, we want to be able to reposition the asset in the scene, retime also the asset, and reanimate the asset. For the retime, we want to be able to add a nonlinear retime in Maya and in USD, and we want to have a real-time feedback in Maya when the animator slightly adjusts the timing. One of the constraints also is we want to still be able to update an asset, usually to get the latest surfacing version for the lighting. And we want to mix surfacing this asset and the cache. And we want to keep it almost simple for the artist because, as you will see, you can have a lot of USD files to achieve that. So the workflow I will show you is, first, in shot A, we have assets, and we will publish them. Then after that, in the shot B, we will import the asset. We call it asset reuse at Superprod. And we will position the asset, animate it, retime them also. And then we will publish and submit a render, a QC, and the final render and the compositing. That seems simple. So in the shot A, we have our animation. Sorry, of a kid and its father. And the animator just have to publish the shot with HGTK. It's a dedicated shot for bank anim, but it's also available for a classic shot with a ton of assets. We will see that after. Oh, I'm waiting the green checkbox. So what happened during the publish? First, we export a USD clip to have one USD file per frame. We take this USD clip and put it into an animation layer, a USD file. And then we will generate a new USD base. That's the term at Superprod to say in this file that represents the shot. You have, as you can see, all the layers stacked as a sub-layer with the USD terminology. So at the beginning, you have the assembly, which defines the casting, and then on top of that, we will add the different steps of the production: animation, FX, lighting. That, with USD, that's determined who is the stronger in the list and who override who. With this tool, Anim Reuse, we have introduced a new USD base. We call it the base light. In this USD base, you have only the layer who contribute to the animation or the deformations. We don't care about the assembly at this step for the base light. We just want animation and deformation to be able to call it in the shot B to have our animation. So once the shot A is published, a QC, an Arnold render is submit. It's just with the albedo and the occlusion because we just want to check if everything is okay. And we also produce USD file, so we can check them in USD view and even switch to the Arnold renderer in USD view to say to check the look if we want. Now we are in shot B, our goal, our mission. So we have the shot with Underdog flying over the city. And we will import our published assets. So to do that, we have created an interface. The artists are able to then select the shot they want. Once the shot is selected, they have access to all the assets inside the shot, and then can select and say, okay, I will like this one, the adult, the kid, import the asset in my scene. So we will create an asset, and then on top of it, apply the cache exported in the shot A. And so in our scene, we have the two characters, and they are alive. Here we will see how we can position an asset. Thanks to the Maya USD plugin, we just have to select the top node. For us, it's the world for each character, and move them in the scene. Because they are already animated and also on the tensor X, I just have to move the world top node, and then the people will walk on the sidewalk. And I can quickly adjust in the timeline when I want the character appear, if the timing is good with the camera. Yes. And just because I like this tool, and John Paul has talked about the proxy and render, we have a tool which allows us to quickly switch from the proxy to the render, which be very useful for us and for the animator to check. You can have your high resolution right in the scene, and switch when it's required from proxy to render, and render to proxy to keep a high frame rate. And that's it. Another thing is we want to animate. So to animate, and we want to animate the USD. So notification. It's on my side, I think. Sorry. Whoop. Go back. Yes. We want to animate the USD cache. So if you look, usually you can have a GPU cache, but you know the GPU cache, you cannot animate an object inside the GPU cache. Now with USD and the Maya USD plugin, you are able to create a controller, and with the proxy accessor in the Maya USD plugin, you can drive the USD primitive with a Maya controller, as usual. And in this video, also, I'll show you for each proxy shape, we connect an anim curve. So we are able to manage the time, which frame we want to read at this frame in the shot B. So we can apply a nonlinear retime, or a nonlinear retime in the scene. So in this example, the old man will walk very fast in the scene, and so that you can adjust if you want, like in editing software, if you want to increase the speed or not in your scene. That was one of the important requirements for us. As I said, you can select a primitive in Maya, and with a bit of code, create a controller and drive the USD primitive. So in my example, I made a stupid animation to animate the hair of the guys. And as you can see, because you have a controller, a Maya controller, you can create a keyframe as usual, play with the cycle offset, the tangent, and everything. And everything will be submit to the Maya USD plugin, and it will drive the USD primitive. So with that, you can keep a high frame rate in your scene because you are using USD. It's not a Maya geometry as usual. And also animate your scene. So, hold on to your seat. It's going to be a bumpy ride. This is the most complicated part of the presentation. I will try to explain to you how it's done under the hood. So first, we have the shot A with our 2 characters. We'll publish 2 content files which embed the USD clip. That USD content file will be inserted into an animation layer. And that animation layer will be sub-layered in the base light, the USD for that shot. And we do exactly the same things for the CFX, the hair simulation, the cloth. So that in shot A, we have the both characters present in the scene and animated. In shot B, usually we have 1 layer, the assembly. His role is to determine which character must be included in the shot. And then on top of it, we have the new cache layer, which will call the base light from the shot A and say, I would like the adult, and another content which say, I would like the kid. So, as you can see on the right side, the shot B, now we have from the assembly, where we say, I want this character, and on top of it, we say, I would like this animation. And then, on top of that, what I have done in the scene, I say, I will override the position of the asset, and even if I want, I can re-simulate the hair, for example, on top of it. If I have much one in the shot B as in the shot A, I'm able to re-simulate the hair, and thanks to USD and the composition, I can generate a new hair for this asset. So we can say the lower part is dedicated to the casting. We say, I want this one, and I want this animation, and on top is a classic animation for a shot. Because it's a bit complicated to define that in the scene, in the USD file, we don't want to write code or open a USD ASCII file. We have implemented a simple system for the artist to define the casting in complement of the import reuse tool in Maya, so that the production and the CG sup are able to cast an asset in a shot and also define which cache of animation they want to use. So in this flow production tracking page, we have created a custom entity, and they can say, create a line and say, I would like this asset. We can also specify the version and stuff like that. And also they are able to say, I would like this shot, and in this shot, I would like to pick this asset. So that's very simple for them to declare that. And once it's OK, they have an action menu item in flow production tracking, which means they just have to right-click and say, generate a new assembly layer for my shot. So it's very simple and very easily to manage, even if you have 1,000 of shots in your production. And with the power of the filter of not shot grid, but flow production tracking, it's super easy to manage that. So, go back to our shot. We have Underdog, and now we have asset on the sidewalk on the left. You have the old guys with his phone on the right, and the guys, the person in front of the bakery. The animation has been published. So thanks to USD and our pipeline, we have automatically create collection. And so for the lighting, we just have to resubmit the lighting, and the character has been added automatically and dispatched in the several render layer automatically. So I will show you. And now we have the compositing. Also because due to the pipeline, we have nothing special to say if we want to add some asset in the scene. So for the director, it's very convenient because they just have to say, oh, finally, I want one person here, another person here. And we can very quickly open a scene, use the tool to import or define that in a shot grid, and then just set up the asset in the scene, republish, and then submit the lighting and the compositing. And at the end, for the director, before on your right, you have the previous version with less life, and now on the right side, you have all the crowd in the scene added. So, what are the key advantages of this technique? Is first, the data is exported once with all simulation, so we save space on disk, which is still always interesting for the IT crew. We can manipulate the asset in the time, which is not so evident by default with USD, because you have to manage the frame in the USD clip. You can reanimate the primitive on top of a cache, which can be very useful also. It works with everything, not only for the character, for a prop, for a vehicle, for a set also, sometimes with that, to quickly grab a set already done in a shot where you have something, set dress, something special, and you want to quickly reuse that. As I said, the asset can be still updated, which is very important for us. Usually you are at the lighting step, you have an issue with your asset, you want to be able to pick the latest surfacing, which will save your life for shot. And with this concept, as long as the topologies are identical, you can do whatever you want. You can apply the cache on it. And also, you can apply this cache to another asset variation. For example, if you want to have the kid with a green shirt, you can use the cache from the kid with the orange shirt. And one of the cool things also is you can reuse the caches from any shot. Before this technique, to use an existing animation for an asset, the animation has to exist as a keyframe. And usually, we bank the animation in StudioLib, for example, and then we have to reapply it in another shot. And that was difficult to quickly reuse an animation from another shot. Now, with this technique, all assets in all shots can be reused. So now, all you need is to search the shot and the asset you want, and in flow production tracking, and then you just have to import them in the shot. So for us, it's a very game changer. More the production advance in the production, more you have a bank of animation available to improve your shot and the quality of the shot very easily. For us, it's a game changer, especially for the series. We have a ton of shot and episodes, so that's very powerful. What we want to do next, we want to do two things. We are working towards the ability to switch an asset reuse to an animate in Maya rig, because we have some use case, or you pick a cache, it's okay, finally the director say, I would like to change something. So we would like to be able to say, okay, convert that asset animated with a USD cache to the Maya rig and put the exactly same animation on it so that the animator can switch, then reanimate, change something on the arm, or I don't know. So that will be very helpful for us. And one other cool thing we want to do is to be able to select the shot and the asset in Hervé. Because today, you have a ton of shots, you can select them and say, okay, you have to know the name of each asset in a shot. And we would like to be able to say in RV, because with the cryptomat and stuff like that, we will be able to say, okay, I have my shot, I would like to pick this asset, this asset, this asset, and send this asset list to my shot. That's our plan for the next month. And voilà. Merci beaucoup. Do we have time for QA? I don't know. Yeah. I have a slide for this. Yes, please.
Thanks for the great talk. I have two questions. First one, you used the proxy assessors for animating the USD prints, right?
Yes.
Maybe that's a question to both of you. Is it now possible to actually directly use transform animation on USD primitives, or is it only possible through the proxies?
Well, it's not yet available, but I know the team is working on it.
Yeah. We are working on that, yeah.
But it's not part of the Bifrost USD plugin you showed.
No, there's a more focus on creating components, basically. Yeah, just components.
And how is your workflow then with, so I guess your rigs are classical Maya geometry rigs and the Maya structure, and then you actually export out the USD as an animation clip, right? How do you go from the Maya geometry to your proper USD asset structure?
Oh, we just simply use the Maya USD exporter.
But
No.
I mean, I guess you have a specific asset structure with certain prims, render prims, proxy prims, and everything. So how do you go from that from your Maya rig structure to your USD defined asset structure?
Oh, yes, we have made a bit of love we export that with a Maya USD exporter. Then we have some piece of code to just re-embed the exported cache at the right place in the USD content file.
So you basically write out a plain USD file that doesn't have the desired structure you want, and then via code you basically restructure the USD.
Yes, but on the animation side, we export one USD content per asset instance, so we have to manipulate stuff and replug everybody at the right place in the shot structure.
Okay, and that's all handled via code afterwards.
Sorry?
So also that creating of the animation layer and everything, and probably also use these stitch clips from the single frames, right? So that's probably all handled by code afterwards.
Yeah, so with USD clip you have a ton of file, topology, manifest, stuff like that, and the pipeline take care of gathering every file at the right place with the right naming convention. Right.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah, thank you first of all for this great talk and this insight. Makes fun seeing that. My question would be like regarding saving space and storage, single source of truth parts or partially inheriting like this concept. why USD is so nice, right? So the point is like if you, for example, have like structure, you have the parent and he tells something from the past, and then you have suddenly the parent in a younger age, for example. How would you manage these assets then in this pipeline generally?
Sorry, I don't
So
know.
you have this character attached to another timeline, right? In this younger age.
Yes.
Then basically you have another asset, the parent, as a younger age. And you can switch prints, right? So, and how would you collect it? How would you attach it to this reusable state that you mentioned before? When you have another scene and want to reuse characters, how you have the storage manifested or connected.
But,
Does it make sense?
yes.
I hope
Well,
so.
I think that's the part which a bit tricky because on the USD clip you define the source of truth, a kind of mapping between I am on the frame 1, I want to read the frame 10. So on shot A we define the truth, and on shot B we define another truth, which thanks to USD override the shot A, and that's it. Oh, I don't know if I'm clear.
Yeah, you're clear.
Okay.
You're basically switching, you just not use the state of the file itself. You have no USD storage, you have the basic asset then. I think I'm not making sense here. But yeah, I
Maybe we can talk about that
Thank you so much.
after to go deeply. Yes, Roy.
Is there a reason why you're loading, like when you're importing the assets in the Maya scene, why you're loading them like as separate proxies into the Maya scene instead of having one Maya USD stage where you're referencing the layers? Because I noticed that the top hierarchy where you had all the individual assets, that was native Maya hierarchy instead of in the USD proxy.
Well, we started the pipeline a few years ago, and at the beginning, that was the best way to load the assets separately instead of one, because I have only one stage. A few years ago, it was difficult to be able to switch an asset to a Maya rig. So that's why we have chose to have one asset, one Maya proxy shape per asset. It's in our plan to move to the new way and have only one stage that will be easier for the pipeline guys to maintain.
Probably faster with data as well.
Yeah, maybe also.
And is there a reason, no, what was the question I wanted to ask? It was about, I'm just going to read it, probably go to anyone else hasn't.
Yes.
When you do the retiming of the animation, does USD automatically interpolate between the frames? If you go like super slow and then you see
Yes.
steps to single frames, or does it interpolate and you have proper motion blur, for example?
Yes, we have nothing to do. We manipulate you have a time attribute on the Maya proxy shape. So we just plug a curve in on this attribute, and then Maya load the right frame. So super cool.
And how do you make sure that your shot A has the correct length to fit into shot B?
Good.
I think this might be tricky if you have a very long shot and you want to get a short clip into it.
But you can tweak that because you manipulate the time. You can have a curve with a cycle. So
To infinity.
yeah,
So you can just adjust it.
and so that you have an infinity of walking person in the scene.
Related to that, like if you start doing time varying, like basically animating the proxy's time attribute, if you write it out to USD, what data does that become? Because it's not SDF layer offset. That would.
No, in Maya we manipulate the time with the proxy shape. Then after that, the pipeline look at the curve and reapply the right time range on the USD attribute, which drives
Yeah, which only works if you have a staged value clips, right?
a state.
It only works with USD value clips then.
Yes. We must have a value clip. Yeah, yes, that's why now we export all stuff with a USD clip on the shot side as for the simulation. Any other questions?
Maybe how do you handle versioning?
Oh,
Do you always push up the whole pipeline, everything?
yes, we version up. And then we version up. We have also an asset resolver. So we version up. And with the asset resolver, we are able to say, okay, finally, I want the approved version, the latest version, or otherwise, even if the USD structure, I say, I want the asset version 2. The lighting, for example, they have a Superprod. They are able to say, finally, I want the version 4. And thanks to the asset resolver, you have the line, I want the version 2, and the asset resolver say, no, that's the version 4. So, yes?
So that goes a bit back to my early question. Let's say for the modeling, you export your USD character, and let's say you decide you want the head as one USD primitive and the body as another USD primitive. So you export that out, you do your shading layer, and that's your static published asset. Now you have the character in Maya, you rig it up, and you export out the animation. Now, of course, the animation USD structure also needs to be in sync with your published asset, right? So the head needs to be one primitive, the body needs to be the other primitive.
Yes.
How do you keep this in sync? How do you keep kind of, the model layer and the animation layer in sync USD primitive-wise in a hierarchy? So in modeling, if they say, oh, now I want the hand as a separate prim, and
Yes.
they republish the model, now the animation layer won't work anymore, right?
Honestly, today we don't have mechanism to check that. It's the production take care of that. We already have implemented check on the asset side to be sure, for example, if the topology evolve, to be sure the UV done after are compatible. If it's not compatible, our USD base for the asset is not be able to be approved, and we send a note to the artist and the production to say, hey, you have an issue here, you have to fix that. And we have in mind to do exactly the same things for the shot part, to say, oh, we have something wrong in the structure, you have to do something.
Okay, so right now it's kind of manually trying to keep
Yes,
everything in sync.
yes. And usually we have not a lot of issue regarding that, honestly. So, thank you guys. Thank you for coming. See you. Merci.